Welcome to the Army Empire Podcast, your go-to podcast for insightful tips on investment strategies, entrepreneurship, and all things money matters. Join Bernard Alerte, your guide on this journey to financial freedom. Each episode will dive into expert advice, practical strategies, and inspiring stories to help you take control of your financial future. Whether you're an aspiring entrepreneur or a seasoned investor, we've got something for everyone. So get ready to unlock your financial potential and make your money work for you. And now, let's welcome your host, Bernard Alerte.
Let's welcome our host. Hello there. Good evening.
Good evening. How you guys doing?
Good. Listen, we're ready. It is Thanksgiving week. Can you believe that?
Yes. Thanksgiving week. So we want to wish everybody happy Thanksgiving. Don't eat too much turkey. Stay away from the Black Friday sale. Okay. Stay away from that. It's going to destroy your pocket. Okay. So
listen, we heard it here first from our financial advisor.
yes.
Stay away from the Black Friday sales.
Stay away from that. Terrible. I've seen fights. I mean, it's crazy. I tried to go on Black Friday about 10, 12, 13 years ago. I said, let me go check it out and see how it is. Oh my gosh. It was once one and done. One and done. I think that was it. It was done. I was like, I'm never going back again.
Listen, since we're talking about this, let's discuss the thousands of emails that we are being pushed and persuaded to do our online shopping. I know before we used to get up at 3 a.m, stand in line at Best Buy, back in Radio Shack and back in the days. Yeah. But now we can't fall trap, and fall prey to the online and the emails of 50% off, 40%
yes,
off.
50% off, 50%. I had to literally like, oh my God. I said, nope, not doing it. Not doing it. So
okay, I'm gonna ask you a nosy question.
Yes.
What of all of those online emails, which one is the one that's most tempting for you?
Sneakers. I'm a big shoe person. It's crazy. I have a design. Usually I get some stuff. I rarely get some stuff. Usually they were like $500-$600 and down for like 150, 180. So I'm like, no. So what I did, just to remind myself, I count how many pairs I have. Okay, no more. That's it. I don't need more. Yeah.
Listen, we are all susceptible. There is no discrimination. Even our financial coach gets tempted times.
Tempted, yes.
To click that button. All right, Bernard, what are we talking about today? I see our tile is up. I got my paper and pen ready to take notes.
We're gonna talk about annuities. Last week we talked about mutual funds, but we're gonna talk different kinds of investments out there. So we're gonna talk about annuities, and a lot of times annuities are something that a lot of people are not even aware of. How does that work? They hear the word, but they don't really understand. So we're gonna cover different types of annuities, how to use them, and effective in your financial strategy. And on top of that, different. And I don't like to use hypotheticals. I have different hypotheticals to show them what they can do for the right person, right? Different numbers for the right goal, for the right perspective that people have. So let's look at the first slide. There's three factors that affect, and then we talked about a couple months ago, about 6 months ago, we had a podcast. There's three factors that affect your money, right? Which is inflation, right? Taxation and market fluctuation, right? And the only product out there, financial product out there that handles all three of those is an annuity product, right? That can handle make sure that you get better returns than inflation, make sure that it's tax deferred, and it also protects you from market fluctuations also, right? At the right time. So but it comes at a cost. There's a called caveat. It's not for everyone. Okay, there's some costs. We're gonna cover the pros and the cons of an annuity.
So the annuity helps us handle inflation, taxation, and market fluctuation.
Absolutely.
And you're going to show us how it does that.
How it does that, exactly. So let's take a look at the first slide, right? This is all of us have like an investment phase in our life, right? There's three phases that everybody goes through, right? When it comes to your investment. Number one, there's an accumulation phase, right? Which is usually from 18 to 55, Okay, this is why you're saving and you're investing money and you're accumulating money for the future, right? Which is the accumulation phase. Then after you get to accumulation phase, you have to go to the protection phase. Why is that? Because now you're 55, you're a little bit older, right? You don't have that much time to take risks. You can't take that many chances, that many risks. You still want to have your money grow because you still need to have your money grow, because think about it, your money needs to last your lifetime, right? So you need to have growth in your money, but also need to protect your money at the same time, right? Then there's the distribution phase. This is where you start taking money out. You need money for your retirement, which you usually take 65, and it could be sooner, a little bit later, but usually like 65 and over is where you start having distribution. You're taking money out, right? And we're going to show you how now from 1855, the best vehicle for you to accumulate money is in mutual funds. We talked about mutual funds, the best vehicles you can use mutual funds throughout your whole life, right? But mutual funds for accumulating money specifically, you want to use with mutual funds, which is the benefits that we talked about, that you use dollar cost averaging. We talked about before, like, for example, that mutual funds make money in capital accumulation, dividends, right? And appreciation. So those are good ways to accumulate money for your future. So if you're between 18 and 55, you need to be heavily invested. Most of your money should be in mutual funds. Should be mutual funds, not IUL product, not other insurance product, but in mutual funds. This is where your money should be in the accumulation phase. Now, in the protection phase, annuities have a how can I say, they have like a very like a fit within a protection phase and also distribution phase. So we're going to talk about that. Okay.
I love that. I love that breakdown.
Absolutely. And so let's talk about what are some things that an annuity does, right? If you look at the next slide, right? It's a little short, it's a little small, right? Annuities, number one, gives you lifetime income. You're able to get some lifetime income. So part of a benefits of an annuity, it can give you income for life. Like you get a certain amount of money accumulated, you can actually have that money. There's options in there where you can get lifetime income for the rest of your life. That's number one. It gives you tax deferrals. Anything you have an annuity, for example, the growth, when you're investing money in annuity, the interest you're earning on that money is tax deferred. That means you don't pay any capital gains tax on it while your money's growing. So it allows you to money grow tax deferred. Like some people say IUL is tax deferred. No, annuities are much better because you can defer your taxes at the same time, right? Now, annuity gives you protection. Okay, one thing is gives you protection. For example, one of the concerns people have is the market, protection from the market, or that gives you that protection also. People are concerned. They want to make sure that they accumulate money. They don't want to lose any money. They don't want to get hit with the ups and downs of the market. So it gives you protection from the downs of the market. And at the same time, also give you some guaranteed death benefit. A lot of times the money, some options you have in annuity products, you can have a certain amount of money, whatever money put in the account, sometimes it's protected so you can pass it on to your beneficiary. Make sense? Use it as a death benefit also. So it allows you to do all four of these options, the benefits.
Love it.
So let's look at annuity, which the ones I like the least, which is a fixed annuity, right? Fixed annuity, long-term contract between individual and insurance company. Fixed annuities they set up a set rate of return that is guaranteed by the insurance company. Usually when you get an annuity, you get it with an insurance company, not an investment, you're an insurance company that gives you some guarantees on your money.
Say that again. Okay, say that again. I'm writing this down. So a fixed annuity, you get that from an insurance company?
All annuities you get from insurance. Usually insurance company gives all annuities. But what fixed annuities actually, they give you like a set interest rate. So if someone says, you know what, I don't want any fluctuations. I don't want anything. I don't want to deal with that. I want to have a fixed interest rate, and I want to make tax deferred and a fixed interest rate. So if you have a fixed annuity, for example, you get 3%, 4%. It's very low. It's very low interest rate. A little bit better than the bank, but it doesn't give you that much growth. Make sense? In other words, so it's I really don't like them personally, because it's just that you can have your money grow so many protected also. So, but some people, let's say if they're a little bit older, they're like very old, they don't want to know, they're very set in their ways. Right? So, you know what? I'm just happy if you just give me 4% on my account, 3-4%, I'm happy. I don't care about anything else. So that fixed annuity will fit that person. okay, to be able to do that. So they want to be able to get a little bit more than the bank. In other words, right? They might get like 1.5 or 2% in the bank. So I want to get a little bit more. So it allows them to get a little bit more. Makes sense? But also, but they have to keep that money there for a certain period of time because annuities have something called surrender charge, which I'm gonna talk to you about in a little bit.
So annuities is like a savings. An annuity is like a savings.
Invest. Fixed annuities is like an investment, right? It's an investment. But what it does, it gives you the fixed annuity gives you a little bit interest, a little bit more interest than you would get in a bank account. In other words, a little bit higher, but it's not that much, right? And we talk about it helps keep up with inflation, but it doesn't really beat inflation. Fixed annuities. In other words,
I like that last line where it says that the insurance company bears the investment risk.
Yes.
And the individual bears the purchase power risk.
Yes, exactly. What it tells you. That's why it tells you because you better purchase. But when I talked about last week, how your money, if you get 1.5% in the bank, you lose purchasing power because everything else. So it's letting you know up front that you're bearing the cost of purchasing power. So the insurance company will guarantee your money, interest rate, but you might be losing purchasing power because it may not be enough or barely get more than inflation. Okay. So the next one is fixed index annuity, which is a little better, which is the annuity that give you principal protection, but also it provides you opportunity for growth, and they also have some guaranteed lifetime income. So, for example, fixed index annuity, if you look at the middle word is index, right? So they use a certain index, a measuring, like a guide to determine how much they give you, right? So in other words, sometimes they might use the S&P 500 index, which most people are familiar with, right? Or the Russell 1000 index. There's different indexes they use, but most of them use the S&P 500, right? So let's take a look at it. I'm going to try to show hypotheticals, not all Findex, but gives you an idea how fixed index annuity works, okay?
Mm-hmm.
If you look at the next slide, how would I help somebody out, right? If you look at the next slide. Now, if you look at the first column is the years the person has the annuity, right? The second column tells you about the person's age, right? And the third column, which is the S&P 500 index annual change, it tells you how the S&P 500 has been growing on certain year, right? It tells you that, right? And what it tells you, like a fixed index annuity will give you a cap. We'll say, we'll guarantee you that we're not going to give you any more than 8.25. So there's a cap on top. So no matter how the S&P 500 does, they're only going to give you 8.25%. What does that do? That beats inflation, which is great, but they give you a cap. There's so much that you can earn. They're not going to give you everything. But also, if you look at on the bottom, it gives you a zero. If you look at it, right? If you look at year 5 at 72, the market went down 10.14%. Guess what that person did? So the credit rate is 0. So that person did not lose any money. Right? So people are attracted with that, right? And if you see a negative is 0 and 3%, so they credit you. A bottom could be 0% or 3%. It can have like a floor. That means even if the market goes down, you're not going to get any less than that, interest less than that. But also if it goes up, you're not going to get any more than 8.25%. Okay. All right. So if you look at the next columns, right, it tells you how much that person started with 60,000. That's the contract anniversary value, right? It's 60,000. There's the money accumulation value. But if you see it, and there's also a surrender value. If you look at surrender value, that means if that person were to take all their money out the first year, they will get hit with a surrender charge, which is about $5,000. So this is why annuities, you can't put all your money in annuities, because if you wanted to take your money out, you might get hit with a surrender charge.
Right.
Makes sense. So that's why you should have part of your portfolio, but you can't put everything in there. Makes sense because of that. Because you're gonna get if you have an emergency, you might get hit with the excess charge, in other words, right? So it gives you the option where you can have your money grow at 8.25, right? And at the same time is you can have a cap at 0 or 3%. Okay. So awesome. It's a good place you can have your money grow. But let's take a look at which I like very much. The last two, which I really enjoy, the last two variable annuities. One is the index linked variable annuity, right? It works the same way as the fixed index in a certain way, but except you get the whole returns of the S&P 500. So it's a type of variable annuity that tracks the stock market, which is S&P 500. Your investment fluctuates with the index, has an upside performance cap, but also a downside level of protection. Okay, so you're able to participate at the growth of the market, but if the market goes down a certain period of time, you don't lose anything, or they might even credit you. I'm going to give two different examples where they can even credit you. You can even make money in a down market at the same aspect also. So let's take a look at how it looks. Very, very simple, right? How would that work, right? If you look at the next slide, so you can see how this is someone that started with, let's say, $100,000, and this one has a dual direction cap, right? And they're usually called buffer annuities, right? And different companies can do it. But this is an example, which is a company where we use, which it gives you a very simple example, right? So if you look at three different columns, right? If you look at it, so this one has a 20% buffer. What does that mean? That means the good thing about that plan, you want to keep it for a 6-year time frame. Okay. So in other words, you want to look at a 6-year time frame. So what they would do, if you look at the 6 years, the first column tells you like an up market. So
right.
if you up market, so the purple part, which is the buffer annuity that someone invested 100,000, the amount will grow to about 175,000, right? No market. And if the S&P 500, which is a market, did the same, you will get both. Make sense? Which is good. So you will get the returns of, compared to a fixed index annuity, which they only capture 8.25. So you will not get the full returns of the market. Fixed index, right? Now the second part, let's say there's a down market. So they look at a 6-year time frame. On a down market, if you look at it, right, the down market during that 6-year time frame, the market went down at 15%, right? So if you look at what the numbers, the S&P 500, if someone started with 100,000, they would end up with 84,000, right? But with the dual direction with the annuity, guess what would happen? The company would look at, listen, I know the market went down 50%. Here's what we're gonna do for you. We're gonna credit you 15%. So you would make what everyone would actually, if value would go down, you would actually make money on a down market.
Wow.
So they would give credit you 15%. So that person with a dual direction would have 115,000 after 6 years. That 6-year time frame, right? But also, it comes with a price. So look at the most market return. If you look at the last column, now the thing with the dual direction, they give you a cap on top. That means you can't take the full returns of the market at the same time. So when the market we have past 6 years has been explosive the past 6 years, if you look at it, makes a big difference. Versus you would have a little bit less at a really up exploding market. Make sense? You'd be able to do that. Now, what would that plan work for? If someone said, listen, I want to be able to grow my money, but I really don't want to take any chances. I want to be able, if the market goes down, okay, I want to be able to maybe make a little bit of money even when the market goes down. And at the same time, if the market explodes, I'm not too concerned about earning everything, right? So I'm more concerned about the downside, be able to protect my money or grow my money if the market goes down. So at that point, that would work great for someone in that market. Okay.
Sign me up.
That scenario. So people say, oh my gosh, can I? No, but the challenge with that is those plans, you have to put a certain amount of money. You have to put 50,000, 100,000. You can't put $50 a month. And it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work for that market. You have a lump sum to put to be able to start it.
That's awesome. That's good to know.
Now, what I love about those, there's three pluses. Number one, it gives you all the upside with no downside protection. But what I love mostly about that is there's no fees to it. So the client pays no fees yearly.
Yeah, like hidden fees. Yeah.
No fees. So they invest 100,000. 100,000 starts working right away. and there's no fees, because annuities, because which I'm gonna cover the last one, has some fees attached to it because it gives you different options. This one gives you absolutely zero fees. So there's zero fees to it. So I won't pay no. So to me, that is awesome. That is awesome. And at the same time, but they have to keep for a 6-year time frame. So they don't look at the point from year to year. You have to look for 6 years. So it's a project. You have to say, you know what? I'm gonna invest that money, and I'm gonna let it sit for 6 years. I'm not worried about it, and see what it does.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that gives you that option. Now, the next hypothetical where someone said they're not too concerned about the making money. They want to be able to get all the upside of the market. So if you look at the next slide, the next slide, the same comes the same way. Now next slide is different. When the market went down 15%, that person lost nothing. So they were down to zero. So if they started 100,000, they would stay 100,000. In other words, right? So they wouldn't lose anything. That's time for a down market. But the benefits of it is in an exploding market like past 6 years, they were able to participate as much in the up market. Make sense? Exactly. So you can get as much as possible for up market. So this is for someone that gives you that say, I want to get as much returns on the up market as possible. I'm not too concerned if I just break even 6 year. I'm happy with that, So that's someone that's good. That works good for that in that scenario.
Answer this question? Where do most people get the money to get an annuity?
It can come different places. It could come, for example, is they may have money, like we talked about, money in a 401k and a retirement plan. They may have that. That's where you can put it into an annuity. They could have money sitting around. How can I say that?
Somebody who sells a house.
In the house, they sell the house, and they have a bunch of money cash. That's annuity is a great vehicle for them to be able to use that. It could be inheritance, right? They want to. They could have one money with tax deferred because the interest you earn, you're not paying taxes on the interest you earn. You only pay tax when you take the money out. So if it's like a retirement plan, a 401k or an IRA, when they start taking money out, like any retirement, they start paying taxes. But let's say if it's non-qualified money, where they got inheritance or they have money sitting in a checking account or they sold their house. So what they would do, the only time they will get taxed, they'll get capital gain tax on what they earned, not on the amount they take out. Which is different, which is great. So it's a great vehicle, but the annuity are not designed for anyone that's young. It's usually designed for someone that's in their 50s, late 40s, 50s. They may have exceptions and certain scenarios, but usually designed for people that are older. When you're 50 and older, because you're in the protection phase of your of your investment cycle.
Okay, so annuities are usually for people up in age, 40, 50.
50 and up, yes.
Okay, awesome. For those that are watching on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube, thank you for watching. I see you guys on there. This is some great information. Stay connected until the very end. All right, next slide.
The next one, which is a variable annuity, right? Variable annuity offer both investment and insurance features. The contract fluctuates based on investment chosen because it's invested, but at the same time, it allows you to have some kind of income at the same time, guaranteed income, right? In the process, right? So let me show you the next scenario, right? So this is where someone uses this annuity product, a variable, which is income, lifetime income variable annuities. This is what someone uses in their distribution phase of their life. This is where they start taking money out because they're retiring right now. They need income. They want to have a guaranteed pension. One of the things that is so attractive back in the days and when our parents working is every company had when you retire, you had a pension, some guaranteed income, right? That money is coming in no matter what. But if you look at it from the past, since 1980s, 90s, and up forward, most companies or most institutions got rid of pensions and they started giving towards 401ks, deferred comp, where people can fund their own, but people are still attracted to the fact of have guaranteed income. Because one of the biggest fears that people have is not losing money, it's outgrowing their money, outliving their money. Outliving their money. One of the biggest fears that people have when they retire, they don't want to run out of money when they're 75, 80, 85, 90, and when they have no money left because they use all that money. So they're concerned. They want to be able to have a pension, like some kind of guarantees where they can have the income coming into them, so they don't have to worry about that in their old age. Last thing you want is someone that's you work your whole life, worked, and you're 75, maybe didn't plan right, and all of a sudden you find yourself running out of money, have to go back to work just to make ends meet at 75 years old. It's sad. It's sad, but it does happen because of that. So there's a good way to use income variable annuities to be able to fix that, right? So if you look at the next scenario, so you can see, right?
Mm-hmm.
And income, your money is calculated 3 different ways, right? So let's take a look at it. This is someone that start with, I have a little bit more, they start with 400,000, and it tells the age. You see the age, age 65. This one that's older, about to retire. Now, the middle, if you look at this, is the returns of the market during that time frame, and it gives you the year. Now they start with 400,000. Now let's see the anniversary value. And I mean, this is where how the money grows based on the returns, right? But if you look at on the right, now that's a guaranteed income. Now, if you look at the green column, now what happens is you get some guaranteed income. That money grows. Let me show the perfect part with that. If you look at year, let's look at year 2008, when the person is 71 years old, right? Imagine someone 71 years old, and you get hit with what we had the market went down.
Yep.
Right. In 71. Now think about that, right? That person's account, if you look at it from 870 to 871, they start at 482,000. But guess what happened? In a regular investment, that investment would have dropped down to 271,000.
Yeah.
That person's panicking. Would your average would panic? Oh my gosh, I lost 35% of my investment. Right? So they would panic. But if you look at it, now let's take a look at on the income base. If you look at the blue column, look at the income base from 70 to 71. Because your money is growing, your income is calculated with your income, because every year your income part of your money is growing. That the income base is 546,000. So the account value is a lot bit less. But the way the company calculates the income, where the person starts taking money out,
right,
a lot higher. So if you look at the green column, if you look at the income, guaranteed income, that person is guaranteed to have 42,000 a year coming to them, even when the market goes down.
Yes, that part right there remains the same.
The same, exactly. So the person, look at the power of this, right? Now, if you see the surrender, which is the contract value, if you look at the contract value, right, at year, the person is 84 years old, 85 years old, they have 69,000 left. But guess what? They're still getting.
Yep.
They're still getting 42,000 for the rest of their life.
Yep.
Lifetime income. You see the power of that? So they don't have to worry about, my gosh, am I gonna lose income? I'm taking money out, but I'm losing income. No, you have to, because once you kick in that guaranteed income part of an annuity, right? You get that guaranteed income, and it's not. People think it's called annuitized. It's not annuitizing. It's not what you're doing. You're taking a guaranteed income. That means the risk is going 100% with the insurance company. That means it's got to keep paying you as long as you're alive. And that can be passed on to your beneficiary.
Yeah. Yeah. We have another question here. I think you kind of mentioned it earlier, and many ask this. This is the big question. Is this just for retirement people only? Is that true?
Absolutely not. You can use that money to, if you want to be able to grow your money and protect your money, you can use that also, right? I will use, for example, if someone is not looking to retire, I would 100% use an index-linked variable annuity. Why? Because they're able to take participate of the growth of the market without taking any of the risk, and at the same time, they don't have to pay any fees for it. Now, this annuity has fees. For example, what the company does, they say, listen, we will protect you, but we're going to charge you for the protection. Make sense?
Yeah.
We're going to charge you yearly for protection. So they might charge you, they go they go in from 1.5% to 3% a year.
Okay.
1.5 to 3% a year, in other words. Right. So it's beneficial, you know. But you if you look at the benefits of it, you never run out of money. You know, so 1.5 to 3%. Now, if someone's not taking income, this is why if someone's not taking income yet, it makes no sense to pay the fees. 1.5 to 3%, because you're paying 1.5 to 3% on the income that you're taking, guaranteed income. So if someone's not taking guaranteed income, they'll be better off getting an index linked variable like a buffer annuity, where they can have the growth, the protection, and pay zero fees for it.
This is so amazing. How much will someone need to add or do more in order to get 50 grand a month?
50 grand? Well,
yeah,
it depends, because
two there.
They would need a little bit more. It depends. It depends on you have to do a calculation. They might have to start investing a lot more. So that person might invest like 600-700, but you have to do a calculation, right?
Yeah, there's variables that
variables with that. Yes, absolutely. And again, it's variable annuities. I just got to put a disclaimer. They're investments, so they fluctuate a lot. So if someone's looking at the money is going to fluctuate. So the money is going to fluctuate because with the market, but the income part of it is actually going to stay steady and grow for you. In other words,
this was a lot of great information. And Bernard, tell us one more time, which one is your favorite of these that you talked to us about? Is it the LVA?
I love the index linked variable. I love that part because they're all good, but the two I would gear more toward, which is the index linked variable annuity and the variable annuity for income. That's perfect, because guess what happens? I can use as a strategy for a customer, for a client. So for example, I would use mutual fund for the accumulation phase. To protection phase, I will use the index linked variable annuity because they can take advantage of the market, right? And at the same time, not worry about any decline. It's protected to a certain level. And at the same time, then when they want to start taking income out for their retirement, they can use the lifetime income variable annuities, which guarantees income for life. So it's a perfect trifecta strategy that you can use, that someone can use to really build a strong strategy for retirement.
And these annuities are not $100 a month type of things. You start with thousands of dollars that go down,
like 50,000, and like a mutual fund, you can start with $50 a month, that's where you're accumulating. But once you start having money, like I've had clients, for example, when they started with nothing. They started with nothing with us, and they start with $50, $100, $200 a month in a mutual fund. Now, for the past 25 years, they have $200,000, $250,000 in their account. So what we've done now, they're in a 50-55. So listen, how about we move a portion of that money into index linked variable annuity? Why? Because we can actually you can still have the growth, right? You're not going to get the dividends, but you can still have the growth of the S&P 500, plus you're protected. So you don't have to worry about fluctuation. If the market does a correction and within that time frame, you don't have to, oh my gosh, I have to delay my retirement. You don't have to worry about that because you're set. You're okay. And at the same time, and after people had that for a period of time, then for like 6 years, and I would move them into the income where they can draw income for the rest of their life.
So good. Listen, we are eating up this information. I hope you did as I did, and you shared this episode in your profile on Facebook or wherever it is that you're watching. Share this link with somebody. Share it with a family member that needs to learn and grow when it comes to all things money matters and finances. Absolutely. And contact Coach. Again, his email is scrolling below on YouTube, above on Instagram, and jot that information down and say, hey, I want to sit and have an appointment with you. I know my husband has a lot of questions. So Absolutely. This is something that we're going to need to follow up. And I'm sure there's going to be more episodes on this, right?
Absolutely. And this is perfect. This is a perfect scenario where you hear like, and I'm going to say it again, like when people that take lump sums of money, put in IUL products and really pay a bunch of fees. So like for example, if someone took the same $100,000 and put an IUL product, they will lose half their money up front. The company would take about $50,000 in surrender. Like we had someone literally a client, one of our leaders, that the client started putting not a lot, 3,500 a year in IUL product, and guess what happened? The first year there was no. They told her you have to pay 8,000 in fees before you start seeing your money grow.
Wow, that's crazy.
And that's for $3,000 a year. That's not a lot of money, to start with. So that tells you. So if someone's concerned, they want to grow their money, they want to protect their money, IUL is not the place to do it. It's not to it. There's annuity products that's there, but guess what happened? The problem is to be able to do the index-linked variable annuity and also to be able to do a variable to income variable and guaranteed income, you have to have your investment license.
Yeah.
And because a lot of these guys don't have their investment license, they don't want to get it, so they don't talk about it. So they push those life insurance IUL product where they actually make tons of money. It hurts the customer, hurts the client, and really eats up their money. And they claim it's all your money's growing. No, it's not growing tax deferred. It's really you're hurting the customer.
Yeah.
Definitely.
We have a question on Instagram. T is asking, what's the difference between the fixed annuity and the variable annuity? DM us so that we can send you this link, T, because he mentioned it in the beginning. But she is asking also which of the two is better, in your opinion, the fixed annuity or the variable annuity?
It depends. If you don't mind the fluctuation and you need income, the variable only 100%. And you want to grow off income, then 100%. Now, if someone's very old, they say, I want to be stuck. I don't want any fluctuation. I want to be able to beat the bank and have then the fixed index to fix my work for that person. But I personally, I like the index linked variable because guess what happens? It eliminates everything because your money's protected for a certain period of time, right? As long as you keep that for a period of time, you can participate on the growth of the market. So if the market, listen, like the market did great last year, 20-25%, you're going to get 20-25%. You will get it, and so I like that. I personally enjoy that, but everybody's different. Everybody's risk tolerance is different. Everybody's goal is different. So it's not like one size fits all, know. It's everyone everyone has their risk profile. We have to follow that, what they feel comfortable doing. Then either way, there's some kind of annuity that might fit someone's situation there. As long as they're older. Younger, I would not do there's time for that. Under 45 or under 50, I really would not go towards that. I
don't know about you guys, but I learned a lot of things. I learned some new things. And that's what we're here for, to learn new things that we did not understand. T is saying, thank you. Thank you for watching on Instagram. And again, if you ever have any questions, just DM us, send us a message, and Bernard will get back to you. This has been an awesome episode. Thank you, Coach.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you.
So we will have another episode next Tuesday. We are
still working on that. I have a couple ideas. Yes.
So after you have had your Thanksgiving dinner and enjoyed family time, we'll be back next Tuesday with another amazing episode here with Bernard Alerte, our financial coach. Thank you all so much for watching. We will see you again soon. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you. See you guys. Don't eat too much turkey.
Don't eat too much turkey and don't eat too much pernil, arroz.
Yes, especially that. I can't eat that anymore. So I'm good.
We'll see you next week. Bye, guys.
Again now.
Thanks for tuning in to the Army Empire podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe and share it with your friends. Join us next week for another exciting edition. And until then, keep building your empire.